everything that you're putting out there, that's building that authority, that's building that conversation.
Yeah. I very rarely find that people have a lack of content problem. It's a lack of strategy problem.
Figure out which social channels really work for you. Because if you hate doing video, don't make yourself do video.
Don't do video.
Today, we are going to be talking about how to attract the right customers by defining your audience. Part of the work that goes into getting the right customers is building trust with your audience. And the better you can define what your business offers and what it is not, makes it easier for the right people to find you.
Absolutely. And I will say this thing about trust. We live in a world right now where trust is not a given. And so you have to earn it over and over again. So all these things that we're going over today, I think people need to continually come back to them when it comes to their brand and marketing.
1000%. Business is a marathon, not a sprint.
True.
So we're going to start with the concept that not everyone is your audience. And it really takes some time to work through and define who your audience is.
It does. And it's not just, even when you say not everyone's your audience, it's not even big, gigantic groups. Like you cannot say women 35 to 65 are my audience. Like there's so many things in between there. You really have to know who your audience is and what they do.
And starting to really learn about them as people, I think, is part of that process. For me, doing presentations has been really helpful because I'll talk to business owners and really start to understand what the actual questions they ask are. But when you get more and more specific about like an actual person in mind, it makes it so much easier and more real, I feel like, to understand who your audience is.
Like do you, and I don't know if you do this, but like a buyer persona and you give it a name, like a real live name, and you call it Jim or whoever it is. And when you start thinking about, okay, well, what is Jim doing? And what is he doing during the day? What is his pain point that I can come in and solve? But if you think of it like, stop thinking of it in numbers and demographics and think of it like a real live person that helps you hone down on who it is your ideal audience. And I would say too, even though you're going after your ideal audience, that doesn't mean you're excluding everybody else. Like people are so afraid to like define their audience because they don't want to exclude other people. You're going to, if you're doing it right, you're going to attract the right people.
Yeah, and I think if you get specific, then those people feel a pull to that because otherwise it just feels so generic. Like if you're doing taxes for everyone under the sun, well, who cares? And you can have anyone do taxes. What makes you special?
Right.
What makes your daycare special?
Right. And if you start thinking about it, if you're ideal person, that's when you get those little unique emotional things that makes your brand different than other brands that are out there doing the same thing.
So the next thing that when we're thinking about how to attract the right customers is the expertise that you bring to your audience. And so many business owners bring just a ton of experience that a lot of times I see them not thinking about like all the experience that they bring, and they forget that their audience might not even know to ask the questions about all that experience that they bring. And do you see that with your customers?
Oh, for sure. And I think it goes back to that buyer persona. It goes back to thinking of Jim. I have no idea why I've picked Jim as my name, but
we're gonna run with
We're gonna run with it now. Yeah. But if you think about Jim, think about what he is interested in knowing about you. So if we use the person that's doing taxes, Jim wants to know. He does want to know about your expertise, and yeah, you might think it's nothing because everybody in your industry has that, or some people have this criteria, and some people. He doesn't know that. He's just the normal guy who needs his taxes done. And if you share all that knowledge and experience and how many years you've been doing something, some people think that doesn't matter. They're like, oh yeah, I've been doing it for 25 years. 25 years? Well, then you've seen all the changes in this industry and you've evolved. Like that means something to people. So again, go back to the person and think, what do they need to know about me for them to make a good decision here?
Or what do they need to know about the pitfalls of, for example, doing their taxes? Just some of that education around, like here, if you're a business owner, bringing your taxes in every year, we're gonna keep running with that. For Jim needs to bring his and he's trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to bring in this year? What's the best way to bring my information to the accountant? Like even that really basic level stuff. is so helpful to people.
Oh my gosh. And it's helpful for the business owner. Wouldn't you be so happy if Jim brought the right documents the first time that you were meeting with him? Then you have everything and you can start working right away and not so much, oh, well, you're going to need to go back and give me this, or I need that box of receipts you didn't think I needed, and all of those things. It's so true.
And sussing out those questions that people are asking within your industry really helps you to narrow down about how to have that conversation with them. So maybe it's like looking up, what are people Googling about the industry?
Yes.
Like literally just checking on Google and see what questions come up. We do that.
Oh, for sure. We do that all the time.
Right?
I mean, it's looking at things like in social media, go in and do a hashtag of taxes and see what happens because people are asking questions. And even if you're not a big fan of social media, and especially like X, formerly Twitter, you still need to go in there because here's the conversation's happening with or without you, and it holds. You don't have to participate, but man, does it hold a goldmine of information about what your customers and clients are needing. And you can answer, and if they're asking the same question, create a piece of content to answer that question. Send out an email that answers it. Put it in social media posts because if they're asking it, you're going to be the expert in that space.
And that actually leads us to our next section, which is defining what you want to say to your audience. And after you do that research and after you decide what general areas you want to talk about, there's so much power in writing down, in defining those content lanes of what you want to get across. And it doesn't have to be like this super long list. It can be 4 main key things, and then that can be broken down a million different ways over the course of a year.
Oh, for sure. People have more content than they think. Like, I very rarely find that people have a lack of content problem. It's a lack of strategy problem. It's a lack of how do I get all this out there. It's
I like that. A lack of strategy problem.
It's a lack of strategy problem. It's very rarely have I ever, I don't even know if I ever have, run into somebody that once we start talking to them, they just don't have enough content. They have a head full of content. They've got all this content. It's just, okay, what are we going to talk about? What are my lanes? What am I, and we'll sometimes call them pillars, what are my content pillars? And then inside of there, what kind of content am I going to create from it? So if one of your if for taxes, and this is a horrible example because I don't know a lot about taxes, so I'm giving not the greatest. I should have gone with something I know. But if you're going to be talking, if one of your things is talking about preparing personal taxes, so you're talking about personal taxes versus business taxes, that's your pillar. Then think about, okay, how can I educate people? Like I can do some content around educating people. What do they need to bring? What do you need to know?
Changes to laws.
Changes to laws are really big. And then you can do one that's more, that is more conversational. Like, what's your biggest challenge about putting your taxes together? How, keeping it organized. It doesn't have to be selling people on your services.
No.
And I just want to say that again. Any content, it doesn't always have to be selling. Because nobody wants to be sold to.
Well, and everything that you're putting out there, that's building that authority, that's building that conversation.
Yes.
The selling, it doesn't need to be a hard sell at the end of it.
Right.
It doesn't need to be, and give us a call.
And for $9.99, you can, yes, it doesn't. Like, you want people to know who you are as a brand, and there's a personality behind your brand.
I talk to people about it being like social media is like scattering all these little cookie crumbles, and you're giving people these little cookie crumbles, and they're not ready for the full meal yet.
Right.
That comes later. That comes with white papers. That comes with entering their email address to sign up for your email. All of those things.
Yes.
But the social media is cookie crumbles.
It is cookie crumbles. And patience is something we don't talk enough about, I think, in marketing. You have to have patience. Like, it does take time to build a brand. And a lot of times I will see that people compare where they are in their business with somebody else, and they'll be like, I can't believe I can't be as successful. Well, that person's really, if you look into it, has been doing it for 10 years consistently. You've been doing it for 10 months.
And consistency is the key.
Key.
That is why we're talking about creating those pillars and defining that, because once you have it defined, it makes it so much easier to be consistent in that communication. And you're not like racking your brain on a Friday evening because you forgot to post on social media again.
Yes. Right. You can create, and I know everybody's now going to stop listening. You can create a content calendar, but it doesn't have to be this big long thing, but it can just be where you look and every Monday morning, I mean, could you even imagine every Monday when you get to your office and you open it, you open up your laptop, you start your computer, and you don't suddenly worry that, oh my gosh, I have to put a post on social media, I've got to send an email this week, and you have none of it done. What if it was all done? What if you took one day out of the month and you said, you know what, today I'm going to look at March and I'm going to create all the little pieces of content. They don't have to be long form content. Put a good quote on your Instagram every once in a while. Just say a few words into your phone and it doesn't have to be these long things. Share an article. Mm-hmm. And if you already knew what you were doing, it would be so much easier to get the rest of your job done and not worry about that piece.
Well, and that takes us to the last section of just getting that expertise out there in the world and building that trust with your audience and continuing that conversation, because there's a lot of different places that you can show up in the world on social media. And as a business owner, it's impossible to do them all. Like, I don't have the time to do them all. So I personally feel like it's more important to develop really good content first and then have that on your own channels, like your blog, your email list, and so forth. And then figure out which social channels really work for you. Because if you hate doing video, don't make yourself do video.
Don't do video. Because it'll come through so clearly that just did my microphone. It'll come clear so people will notice immediately that you're uncomfortable. So don't do that.
Well, and you'll also hate it, so then you won't do it, and then you won't be able to be consistent.
Yeah, don't do that.
But there's so many different mediums. Like on LinkedIn, you can do a newsletter, and there's carousels on LinkedIn. Or if you really love video, then TikTok might be the place for you.
Right.
And some of it does depend on the audience on that platform.
Correct.
LinkedIn is very different from TikTok. Different video.
A very different video. Don't mess that one up. Don't put the one on the other one.
Yeah. But I think it's really important to be thinking about what you want to get across first and then work through, okay, what channel would make sense for this? What can I be consistent about? It's not just about where the audience is or what's most popular right now. I really feel like it ties into what works for you as a business owner too.
What works for you. And you don't have to be on all of them.
No.
Because you can't be on all of them well. So I always say pick one or two that you really like and that where your audience is, and just be really good in those. Follow all the, what people are doing and pay attention to what your audience is engaging with, because it's different. So people might say, oh my gosh, Reels are the only thing on Instagram that people are engaging with. But sometimes we'll look at some statistics at the end of the month, and we have a client that their carousels are the things that people spend the most time with, and then actually move to something else. So don't just take what you read as this is it. If you don't do, if you're not doing 5 videos a week, then you're never going to show up on Instagram. Look at your statistics. The greatest thing about digital media in general is we have statistics. We have actual data. And I come from old school newspapers, like when they were in print, not even, we didn't have the internet. I know, that's how old I am. And I would literally sell newspaper advertising by going into somebody and saying, we print 35,000 copies of this every day. And the advertiser would be like, oh, okay, well, who's going to see my ad? Well, 35,000 people. We have 35,000 copies. I had no idea how to tell him how many people were going to see his ad in page 3 of the A section. I just had to stick with that narrative. We have 35,000 copies. 35, and if you divide that by 2, you 2 people per household, gosh, that's a lot of people that's going to see your ad. But now we can say, no, this is how many people looked at my post. This is how many people opened my email. And that gives you such valuable information for what to do more of and maybe what to pull back on. And you need to make that decision for yourself.
And that volume piece is not as important as quality, because
100%.
You don't need to do a post every day on social media. What you need are high quality posts.
Yes.
If it's once a week and it's a high quality post, that's so much better than have some AI generated slop that just goes out there.
I'm so glad you just said that about AI. And I love AI. It's very helpful.
I do too. Yeah.
But you need to take your time to make your AI be something that is you. Please don't cut and paste please don't ask ChatGPT to create a week's worth of social media posts for you. It'll do it. But it's getting to the point now where everybody kind of jokingly says, I know that was written by AI.
And it all sounds the same.
It sounds the same. So you go back to what we said earlier about knowing your expertise and showcasing that. Showcase what is unique about you. You're not going to find that inside ChatGPT. You're going to have to add those elements yourself.
I think that really takes us full circle to wrap up, in that the most important consideration when you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I engage in that conversation with my audience? How do I show who I am and what I'm good at, is to be authentic to what you know, and that will really shine through.
For sure. And that's when people, kind of really full circle, that's when people begin to trust you. They want to trust somebody that they believe is being who they are and telling them what they know in a real way. And I think is the minute you can just be authentic and forget all the other pressures about digital media, that's when you win.
Hope that was helpful for everyone. Give us your thoughts in the comments, and we're looking forward to seeing you next time.